Alright, what's going on? We got a quick video on the Speedbag today. What does it do? What's the point? And why you need to learn to hit the Speedbag. So check it out. Okay, so I think a lot of benefit is actually lost on the Speedbag just based on how we kind of are taught to hit the Speedbag, right? So we start with this kind of, it's almost like hammer fist motion, like this, right? We do some rolls and all that. But keep in mind, those are just beginner exercises. As you get more comfortable and you learn the rhythm of the Speedbag, right, you listen to the sound of the Speedbag, that helps you learn the rhythm, right? So as you get more fluent on the Speedbag, you take a step back a little bit. You stand a little farther away, and now you use much more of a punching motion, and you actually strike the bag with the knuckles, okay? So check it out. Okay, so those are much more realistic punches, right? And they are going to develop your speed because they're working fast twitch muscles in your arm. So it's developing fast twitch muscle fibers in your arm, right? The way you stand at the Speedbag, the way you hit it like this, we're isolating the arm muscles and creating fast twitch muscles. So think about it. When you're working out, if like a bodybuilder's working out, they isolate muscle groups, right? You want to work on your biceps, you do curls to isolate those muscles, right? We want to work on speed. You already hit the heavy bag, you get these big movements to develop power. Then you learn the double end bag where you start getting some rhythm and speed and accuracy, timing, all that. Well, the Speedbag is like a level up from that because now we're just focusing really on these arm muscles. So now we're just focusing on the fast twitch muscles in the arms, okay? But this is going to transfer over when you get in your stance, okay? It's going to take time. That's the thing about the Speedbag, is it takes probably the most time to master. But like I was saying, once you learn the basic rhythm and movements, you want to adjust the way you hit the Speedbag just by taking a step back a little bit so you get more extension on your arms, okay? Okay, so when you take a step back from the Speedbag and start working your punches like this, little more realistic type punches, keep in mind, it's going to enhance the way you actually throw your punches, because a lot of times we don't realize it, but we're taught to kind of punch like a piston, right? Where I turn, and as I'm turning my hip, my elbow kind of comes up and I start turning my hand over, right? Well, that's a lot of energy that's going up and out like this, and it is a slight kind of tell. You can kind of see the arm starts to come up when I'm about to punch, right? So check it out. If I push my elbow out like this, that's the kind of motion that we don't realize we're doing sometimes with our punches. But when you start learning to hit the Speedbag like this, the elbow stays down more, the arm stays straight longer and turns over right at the end, okay? So check it out. You got the one motion like this, the kind of piston motion. Try it out just by pushing your elbow out to the side like this. Versus this. I'm just gonna brush my hand towards the camera. So I'm just pushing like this. So you get this kind of cobra type punch. Elbow stays down a little bit longer, and then it snaps out all at once, okay? So it's a lot faster, right? That's why it's the Speedbag. Okay, so another reason I really like the Speedbag is because I like to use it as a warm-up, okay? So I'm not just warming up my arms, I'm warming up my mind. This constant crossing the center line motion, it syncs up your brain hemispheres into an alpha brainwave state, okay? So what does that mean? It's a flow state, right? You hear people talk about the flow state or athletes being in the zone, right? So I feel like that's what the Speedbag does for me, okay? There's this guy, Paul McCartney, he did a TED Talk talking about Filipino martial arts that have a lot of this crossing the center line kind of motion. They did a brain scan when he was practicing his martial arts, and it showed that he was increasing the alpha waves in his brain.
Dr. Adele Diamond did a review study on movement research, of which there's fairly little, and found that bimanual coordination, rhythmic motion, frequently crossing the midline, and hand-eye coordination were particularly valuable when looking at executive function in the brain. This is a picture of my brainwaves while stepping in place. As you can see from the concentration number, that doesn't take a lot of energy for my brain. This is a picture of my brain while doing Kali. As you can see, I'm going to flip back and forth. There's a big difference there.
So my theory is the Speedbag does the same thing. So I like to use it as a warm-up. It gets me in the zone, right? When you get in the zone, you get in this flow state, you're subconsciously going to pick up cues, right? You might subconsciously see that, oh, your opponent's about to attack, or oh, he's doing this mistake, I can capitalize on it. Okay, that's the kind of thing that we want, especially if you're sparring, right? You will really want to have that alpha wave. You want to be in the zone when you're sparring, right? So the Speedbag does that for me, okay? So definitely try it as a warm-up. Even if you're just doing the rolls, the beginner rolls where you're hitting with the side of the hands, it's going to have a similar effect, okay? So it's going to take time, of course, but you know, that's the thing. You have to invest into the Speedbag to get the results. Okay, so then eventually these movements become muscle memory, and you're able to use them when you're actually hitting the bag or sparring, right? And then this speed becomes power. So think about a bullet. A bullet is dangerous because of how fast it travels. So it's going to be the same thing with your punches. When you start adding the speed, along with your hip turn, your steps, and all your other ways of generating power, but this speed from the fast twitch muscles in your arm is going to increase that power, okay? So even if I stand on one leg, there's no step, no weight transfer, and I just try to isolate that arm, that ballistic punch from the arm, it still has a decent amount of power. Okay, so when you combine that with your footwork, with your positioning, and your weight transfer, hip turn, and all that, it's just more power that you're able to utilize, okay? So like the video. See you in the next one. Peace.